A sailboat in the moonlight and June. Wouldn't that be heaven? Oh, heaven just for two. A soft breeze on a June night and what a perfect setting for letting dreams come true.
Well, we got a special delivery today, and we've been waiting all winter long for this product to arrive. We've been really excited. We contacted a bunch of different sail lofts through the winter, and Mack Sails made an offer to us that we just could not refuse. We've been consulting with them all winter. We just took delivery today of a new mainsail and a new headsail and a new Mack pack.
The old sail we had on the Bristol was, we purchased it in Annapolis at Makin Sails there because it came with, it didn't have a main sail. So we had to buy just a used sail, and we sewed the runners on it, or
Yeah,
I'm sure
cars,
there's the
yeah.
cars, yeah. So we made it work for us on our way back from the Chesapeake back to Ontario, and it seemed to be okay, but it really wasn't a great sail. It didn't really fit the boat great, but it was still okay.
Yeah, well, it's actually, that sail's gone on to Bermuda. Ken Sedetry is
Yeah.
putting it on his new boat up there. So anyway, we hope it gets lots of miles on
It's
it.
getting its use. It's getting its $350 American
Yeah,
use, not including the cars.
yeah, that's right.
So we're very happy that Ken could use that.
Yeah. Now you're going to see a lot more of these sails later on. They're just too big for us to open up here and show you all the detail, but very shortly we'll be on the boat and they'll be installed. So when they are, we'll be certain to film it all and let you folks have a look. But basically what we've done is we've got a mainsail with 2 reefs in it, and it's a heavy-duty cruising Dacron, and the headsail is 105%. Just a little bit smaller, and we're basically setting the boat up so that when we get older we can handle it.
Yeah.
And the Mack pack is
When
part
we
of
get
that.
older.
When we get older,
Yeah,
yeah. That's right. So we can handle it. So the Mack pack is going to make things easier, as are the lazy jacks that came with it. The Mack pack, we can just drop the sail into the bag and zip it up from the deck. So we're very excited, and we want to take a moment out of our day and make sure that we thank Mack Sails for their generosity, and we're really, really thankful and really, really excited to see these sails on the boat.
And very happy with them.
Yeah.
We've looked them over, and the quality looks excellent.
Now Travis has made us made a special offer to all of you as well, all of our viewers. Maybe Debbie, you want to tell them about this special?
Yeah, if you want to order sails through Mack Sails, if you mention Wind Over Water, you'll get a 10% discount, which is huge. Which is, well, we're very cheap,
Yeah.
and well, frugal, I guess. And 10% on such a big investment is a lot of money.
Yeah. So we're going to include a link underneath this video. So if you go on our, if you're watching us on YouTube here, you can look below the video, and there'll be a link there you can click on. You can go, and Travis is quick to get back to you with a quote, and he knows all the different boats, and they especially know the Bristol because they own a Bristol.
Yeah, I know.
So
Better to do business with.
that's right. Now we will include also some links to videos that are on their site. So you can actually see a Bristol they've got on there that got a completely new suit of sails and MacPack. And as well, there's the MacPack installation video. So we'll include links to those videos, and you folks can check them out if you want. And
Yeah.
so anyway, thank you very much, Mac and Travis. See these on the boat shortly. One of the jobs I'd like to attack today is the input plug for our shore power. At some point last year it got stepped on and broken. It was kind of brittle anyway, and so we bought a new one, and I just never got around to installing it. So we'd like to run some shore power now in order to get the batteries juiced up and to have some power down below for charging. Here's the fancy new lid, and it's going to go right there. You can see this one's broken. Away we go. Kind of in the middle of this little repair, and I just wanted to point something out. Again, it just testifies to the quality of these Bristol boats. In all the time we've sailed, I don't think I've ever had a boat where tinned shore power wire was used. They've always used copper, and it's funny, but to save a few pennies, so many builders did that, and these guys have used actual tinned, proper marine wire. I'm just so impressed with this. Well, got a little project done. Works very well. There's our shore power plug. A new one. Let's move on to the next job. So I've been working on some instruments I pulled out of the Ratty instrument cluster on the boat. You can no longer buy these. These are the Type C control panels, and there's basically a sticker on top. You can kind of see that. Sort of a sticker that Yanmar issued this with. VDO is the company that built it, and the sun has baked that sticker and it's peeled off. So we've done some hunting around, and in the UK we found a company that manufactures the stickers, and so we can just peel this off, clean the whole panel, which the panel's in really good shape right now. Just clean the whole thing, take off the sticker, hit it with some thinners, so to get rid of the glue, and stick on the new one. However, the instruments that were in this panel were not in very good condition, and I'll show you one here to give you an idea. That's what it looks like. Can you imagine trying to read that? I mean, it's all cloudy, and what I've done is I figured out how to take these things apart, and I'll put a little hashtag in here for people who have these kinds of instruments. They're in a lot of the Yanmar applications, and hopefully people who are Yanmar owners can find our little video here and get some instruction on how to disassemble these. First of all, the smaller ones. So these are things like temperature, oil pressure. What's this one? This is temperature, voltage meters. They're all these smaller VDO, all plastic, very inexpensive kind of units. I understand they're in really good quality, however. On the back here, you can see there's a nut that holds that little tab in, and it's got some green Loctite on it. So that nut is actually what holds the whole thing together. So you have to undo that little nut and then press on the bolt end, this bolt here. And what will happen is this lens, and do be very careful because this is plastic, this lens will gradually start to move out. And it'll move out eventually to the point where you can get sort of a fingernail against it and you can take it out. Don't force it, whatever you do. Don't stick any knives in there or anything. Just gently, don't tap this thing, just gentle pressure, push it out and you'll feel it start to move. And eventually, hopefully, it isn't stuck in there and it'll pop out. So when it does, what you'll end up with is a lens. So there'll be a lens. Here's another one of those lenses. Now, look can you see me through it? Here. I couldn't tell what the temperature was. I had to put my eyes right against it and I could just see a faint outline of the needle. So that's what that looks like. And the inside has got a little bit of dust and dirt and debris in there. You see all that? So that's got to be cleaned. Now, this lens is actually a double lens. So there are 2 layers and they will come apart. And again, you want to be very, very careful because it's plastic and you're going to break it if you really pry against it, but they will come apart. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to soak this in a bit of hot water, not really hot, just sort of warm water, see if I can't get them to come away. So, and the inside of it looks like this. There's that bolt that holds the whole thing together. And there's the needle here. You want to be very careful with that needle. So it remains at 0. You don't want to pry against it or move it around. So we'll just leave that aside. Make sure it's nice and clean. And then I've got some other little parts here laid out. Now I do want to show you the tachometer. Although it does have a tiny little crack, it doesn't go all the way through in the lens. I've cleaned this already and it was in the same condition. So you see how nice that looks now? It didn't take very much. Now the tachometer is slightly different. There are 3 Torx screws on the back. One on the top and one underneath each one of those round dark holes. You see those? 1, 2, 3. It's a tiny little Torx screw. Americans and Canadians might not see a lot of those. It's a very European thing. Torx screws are used in automotive applications usually, and so that's why you're seeing them in these tacks. So let's try to clean that little lens, and perhaps you can see the difference. I'm using toothpaste. Toothpaste is a very, very fine abrasive. So I'm going to use that. I'll just set these parts aside here. I'm going to clean all of them. We're going to start on this guy right here. That's my drying towel. So I put a little dab of toothpaste in there. This is a wet paper towel. Now what I'll do quite often too is I'll just take my fingertip and rub it in there, but a bit of water on a paper towel is a good way to do this too. This will act as a very, very fine abrasive. Now, I don't know which toothpaste is best, but that'll be up to you to do the research on that one. Now we're going to do the outside, which is actually the inner layer. It's the inside of between the 2 layers of glass. Just take your time. Very gently keep going over this, and it will polish right up. And what you might find is there'd be a little bit of yellowing in between the glass. You can sort of see a bit of a yellow color there, and that is the yellow material we're pulling off of this lens. So It could be that there was a bit of rust in there, a bit of water in there. All it takes is a little bit of dust from a machining, you know, to get between those lenses, and then you add moisture, you're going to have rust. Which looks like that's what we've got going here. Maybe even right from the factory. I'm just going to take this to the sink and we'll see what we got. Okay, I've got a microfiber cloth here. You all recognize these. There's some in every home now, I think. So I'm just going to dry it off with that. And that picks up the last of the oils and what have you. Make sure your fingers are clean when you're doing this too. Don't do a greasy engine job and then go and expect your lenses to look nice if you touch them with your fingers. So I think it's a combination of some rust that got in between the layers and maybe a little bit of yellowing, but I don't think it is. I think it's just rust. And then a bit of condensation in there as well. And then just the yellowing of the lens over time. I mean, these lenses are, you know, the age of the engine, which is a 2003, so they're 17 years old, these lenses. That's a whole lot better than it was. Look at that. Just toothpaste. Okay, so to reassemble this, it goes like so. This is the inner lens. This is the outer lens. Now the inner lens has a gasket that goes around here. Then it pops inside the outer lens. Now it's a little bit scratched in one spot, but look at how nice that looks now. Okay, so we got the two lenses together now. So next thing we'll do is we drop this instrument into here. So the little bolt sticks out there. Before I put the lens in, we're going to drop this bezel in here. And the bezel just fits over top and it keeps the instrument centered in the hole. And then we got our two lenses. Where's that little scratch I've got here? Put the scratch at the bottom, so it is not in our field of view. Make sure the rubber is tucked in evenly. Now look at that instrument now. I'll give you a comparison, just to refresh your memory. That's what it used to look like. All cloudy. Now look how clear it is. So the next thing you've got to do is put it all back together again. So what we've got is this little tang, tiny little washer. Just set the washer on top of the tang, then very carefully set it on top of the bolt. There you go. And then we've got this little nut here. We're going to put that nut, just drop it on top. I'll use some, this is like Loctite, what is it called? Thread locker, super glue thread locker. You can hear Deb making dinner in the background. What you making, hon?
Not making anything. I'm scraping the label off of the engine plate.
Oh, Deb's scraping the label off. She's taking that plastic label off the engine plate, so work's going on here in all the rooms. Just a little drop of Loctite on the end there. So if you like doing stuff yourself, this is a pretty easy fix, these instruments. They've all come up really nicely. Let's see if I can get them to focus in here. All of them are quite clear. That one might be a little bit cloudier, but compared to what we had before, they are really fantastic. Easy job to do, very satisfying, and I'd say for all of you DIYers out there, it's a great way to save some money. Those instruments are expensive. You know, I can't see through them, but at least they'll be minty fresh.
Talk to me.